Bird's Bees keeps your lips smooth. This podcast you're about to listen to, it has horribly offensive language, crude humor, and countless spoilers for things we guarantee haven't spoiled for you yet. No, it doesn't spoil things. Bird's Bees, that delicious lip balm. Oh, sorry, I got sidetracked there. Listener discretion is advised. If you're listening to this in a public place without headphones, you should probably use them. You should probably use some Bird's Bees brand headphones. This podcast isn't safe for anywhere, so you should probably stop right now. Get some Bird's Bees. Your lips are so dry. Bird's Bees will make your lips so moist. Kissably moist. Just come up and kiss you. Your moist lips. Sorry, got sidetracked there again. I just couldn't stop thinking about kissing everything I see. If you want to skip to a specific section of the show, the episode description, this has got like timestamps. You can use those. Now, sit back and relax and listen to two fat guys talk about smooth lips.
Dave, who watches The Watchmen? Who watches those charged with watching us?
Nobody, that's the problem.
Indeed. My name's Carlos.
This is Dave.
Two Fat Guys Talk. A refined podcast of roast chestnuts, open fires, and burning buildings because we tried to roast chestnuts indoors. A PSA, if you will, to not just set your house on fire. That's what this podcast is. We're recording this live
I'm trying really hard not to add in something about Indians.
Oh, God. We're recording this live from the dank alley outside of what used to be Dave's house. And by live, I mean not live at all. How the hell you doing, Dave?
Not too bad. Still annoyed at EB Games.
Yeah, we both went to go get Destiny, and the same lot...
Midnight launch.
Yeah, midnight launch, the same lot had a Best Buy and an EB Games. I went to the Best Buy, I got in at about midnight, and I left about 12:10 with a white PS4 and a white PS4 controller. And then I went home and slept. Meanwhile, you were at the EB line until when?
So, here's what happened. I pulled into the lot and passed a whole bunch of geeks waiting at the Best Buy.
Including me.
Not realizing that Carlos was there because I couldn't.
You saw me. I saw you shake your head in shame at my sight.
I honestly did not see you.
Yeah, I was going to punch your car with my fist of justice.
Yeah, no, I didn't see you. I shook my head because I thought that there was more people to Best Buy than there possibly could have been at the EB Games.
So you were shaking your head at random strangers then?
Yes.
Wow, you are an asshole.
Thank you. So I then pull into the lot that has the EB Games and am dismayed to see about 80 to 100 people already in line. So, I mean, I knew things were going to go slower than I expected, but it was also like 7 degrees outside.
That's 7 degrees Celsius.
And
so for our American friends, like, I don't know, 300 pi Fahrenheit.
And I was not prepared. I was in a light shirt with a dress shirt on top of it, sort of thing.
I was in a full coat, zipped all the way up, snug as a bug.
Fucker. Anyway, so I get out of my car, go over, and one of the EB Games employees was like, platinum or non-platinum? And I'm like, pardon? Is this a version of the game I don't know about?
Maybe. No, what he was asking you is he was asking you for some bars of gold-pressed platinum.
Yeah.
Did you notice he had earlobes? Was he a Ferengi?
No. Though, the way they're doing things now, that just might have been. Basically, they have now changed it so that unless you have subscribed to their platinum card, therefore paid for the privilege of being so, you go into the slow lane. So of the, let's say, 80 people in line, 60 of them were in the platinum line. 20 of us was in the slow line. Yeah. And we were told that our line was not going to be touched until the platinum line had been through.
Wow, you didn't tell me that part. They didn't even give you slow service, just no service at all?
Until everybody in the platinum line had been handled. the slow line was not able to
Oh,
advance.
man. Meanwhile, my line was quiet, not disruptive, and the Best Buy guys were very polite and even bantered with me a bit. I imagine this like the Seinfeld episode where Jerry was in first class getting wine and hitting on hot women while Elaine was stuck in coach dealing with all manner of irritating passengers. I was in first class.
You know, if I hadn't paid up front for it and if it
Pre-ordered,
wasn't,
you mean?
well, no, I pre-ordered and I had paid for it fully.
Because you pay up front when you go pick it up. You don't get the game and then pay for it later.
No, but you can pre-order putting down $5.
Yeah, so you pre-ordered
Or
it.
you can pre-order and put down the full amount.
Yeah, so you pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't pay up front. Paying up front is what you do when you go there.
Anyway, I had pre-ordered.
Yes.
And if I had not paid for it in full already, I would have gone over to Best Buy. Luckily, I had a couple guys in line there with me in the slow lane that were cool to talk to for the 2.5 hours I was in line.
I even went to Tim Hortons, got
Fucker.
myself a bottle of orange juice and a cake donut,
Son of...
and I still got home and was probably out before you got your copy of the game.
Oh, it was so...
And I walked out with a whole system.
Now, EB games can be slow at the best of times.
Mm-hmm.
But to go that fucking slow, it was ridiculous.
You told me that the Best Buy guys were there saying they had
one of the Best
copies.
Buy guys came over and he came to the kind of the end of that parking lot section, and he's like, "We got nobody in line. Just come on over. We're glad to have you," sort of thing.
You should have gone there.
I should have,
and then just canceled your pre-order later and gotten really pissed.
but I'm being poor. I didn't have the cash.
Oh, fair enough. I apologize. I do not hate the poor.
So that's the only reason I stuck around.
Gotcha. Well, you still got the game. I got the game too. I played the intro and haven't continued since. You've played a lot more. You've gotten up to level 20.
Yep.
And are now basking in light or whatever the fuck it is thing that you're doing.
Pretty much.
Yes. So, this section is called Mailbag and Corrections.
Take it away, girls.
Okay, a correction for me. In the past, I've said something about feminist frequency having slammed Skullgirls.
She did.
I don't think it happened.
I
looked into it.
I looked into it as well.
I don't think she did an episode on it. She may have made an errant comment here and there, but I don't think she outright just gave Skullgirls the treatment.
She hasn't given it the treatment in detail, but she has called it out for the aesthetic and the sleaziness.
Well, I made the claim without checking my sources, so I apologize for that. I am not a feminist frequency supporter, even though I am a feminist and I despise all the hate she's getting.
Yes.
She doesn't. Anita Sarkeesian does not deserve any fraction of what she's getting, and neither does Zoe Quinn or any of the other developers defending them and blasting the horrifically misogynistic, verbally and psychologically violent movement that is Gamergate. But regardless, that was my error, and I apologize. And we have a couple of mailbag items from Rowan. Rowan, in a comment on episode 54, when we first did our last Airbender What Ifs, What If We Did It, said that 2 hours is perfect, as in a perfect movie length. Sorry, Dave. And Rowan is correct.
I still do not agree.
Okay, that's fine. But I am backed by a vast majority of really well-reviewed and well-made movies being 2 hours.
And my point in what I said is it can be longer and still be a good movie. It just has to be paced properly.
Sure, but it doesn't need to go past that. Once you're getting past 2 hours, you're masturbating. You're basically masturbating.
I don't agree based on the subject matter.
Based on bad movies that have gone that long?
No.
There have been a lot of bad movies that have been very long. Rowan also writes, just listening to episode 55 of Two Fat Guys, feel the need to correct let me actually read that. Feel the need to correct a little. I don't know how to read. While anime and game prices are high, book prices are quite low, and manga is like 400 yen for 180 pages. Light novels about the same. So I had claimed that book prices in Japan were kind of crazy, and Rowan, who is there right now, shoutouts to Rowan, is talking about how anime and game prices are high, book prices on manga are generally fine.
Well,
so our bad there.
Well, and I guess something that Rowan doesn't really mention here, but a lot of the mangas that are sold in Japan, they're sold as a disposable item sort of thing. They're priced low. Their printing quality, from what I've read, is not the same as our printing quality, in that it's almost meant to be read like a newspaper and then tossed.
I would not know.
Rowan, let me know if that's still true. This is from years back that I heard this.
Okay, cool. Roger M., who had suggested some anime raves for us in the past, including No Game, No Life. Shoutouts to Roger. He says, Doom is pretty fun, especially on ultra-violence difficulty. I personally like the Wrath of Kronos mod, which was a mod that was for Hexen, but eventually became compatible with Doom/Heretic. Thank you for that. We'll have to look into that mod. Doom is awesome.
Doom is awesome, especially Brutal Doom.
Brutal Doom is great. Now that you've played through pretty extensively, you have a good idea of...
I actually find Brutal Doom much harder than I remember Doom being.
Well, that was the plan. The enemies are all tuned up. I will say, though, that the hardest difficulty on Brutal Doom still doesn't touch Nightmare just because there's no respawning going on.
Sure, but even... I've been playing through just at a leisurely pace on whatever medium is.
On Brutal Doom, yeah, it has like 7 difficulties. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck medium is on
whatever the mid-level difficulty is, and a number of the different areas I've had to actually redo a number of times because just got my ass kicked.
Yeah, hit scanning enemies are pretty brutal, even though their projectiles aren't hit scanned technically anymore. They actually have a set speed and can be dodged, unlike in the original Doom.
Like there was one of the stages in Doom 2. You start off and you come in. There's for the big Bruticus guys. I was gonna call them fat asses, but
are you talking about the fat guys who shoot the spreads of 3?
No, the shoot the missiles.
The skeletons?
Not the skeletons. They're big. They're fat. They have two cannon-like guns.
So the first thing I was talking about. You're talking about the Mancubus, right?
Thank you, Mancubus. Okay. And when you take them out, then the
doors open, and then spiders. What are they called? The Arachnotrons come in.
The Arachnotrons kept on kicking my ass. It was annoying as fuck.
That was level 7.
Yeah, I found that one fucking annoying. But
to be fair, that level's pretty hard on a regular Doom ultra-violence already, because Mancubi, which you don't encounter up until that point, are already a tough enemy to kind of dance around because of their missile spreads and
I actually found they were easy thanks to the inclusion of my Doom buddy.
Oh yeah, that's right. The invisibility power-up gets replaced with something way more useful. So yeah, okay, that's fair. And there are a ton of them in that level, so...
You can only have one. Once you pick up one of them, or you release one of them, the other 3 die.
Oh. I thought the mod was that you had to get to them in time or some shit.
Nope.
Huh, okay. Okay, wacky. Yeah, Brutal Doom is super fun.
If I had 4 Doom guys helping me, that'd be awesome.
It would be pretty awesome. You know what else would be awesome? What you do! That's all you've been doing.
Lots and lots of Destiny. Doom 3.
Doom 3.
Sorry. Doom 2.
Brutal Doom.
Brutal Doom.
See, Brutal Doom is so awesome. You
wish it was Doom 3.
Freudian slip there. You wish it was Doom 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do. And just rewatched Babylon 5.
Babylon 5 on the next Babylon 5. I remember that narrator. He was so dynamic at the end of every episode. On the next Babylon 5.
Not a single episode I've got or on my DVDs does he exist.
Huh.
That was a TV specific thing.
Is that right? I just remember they had Ghetto X-Wings, and there were some later episodes I caught that seemed really good, but since I never followed the show, I never really paid too much attention to it. What have I been doing, you ask?
Not really, but go ahead.
I played the intro of Destiny and then stopped. I've been playing a bunch of Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition on my new PS4. Great fun. I like how the monsters scale to your level, so at level 1 I could dial it up to Torment 6 and still play, and go into Whimsyshire at level 8 of all things, and get level 8 drops from the catered to my level Whimsyshire mobs, although very hard because they're on Torment 6.
Yeah.
I like that. I like scaling to your level in Diablo. It fits the game as far as I'm concerned. Having a lot of fun with the Crusader and with the new skills on my current characters.
Even though you refused to try a bunch of them while you were playing for a while.
Well, I was here and I didn't have a chance to just sit down, go through each skill, try each skill. I would have bored you half to death, so I just stuck with my current build.
Yeah, but there was one new skill you had to play with.
Black hole?
And that was the black hole. And I told you, Carlos, the black hole is awesome. Try it.
And then I eventually tried it. And then I took it off my skill bar because it sucks. Now, the new skills are cool and all, but I went back to an arcane-based build because I found the weapon that buffed by arcane damage. So I went back to the arcane.
Black hole actually has an arcane version.
Yeah, but Arcane Hydra is fire and forget, and with my passive skill to slow enemies that take arcane damage, it's basically as good as throwing ice everywhere. So that's what I went back to, and I went back to my Disintegration Beam, which I'm just a big fan of. That's all I really did since last time we spoke. Oh, and I've been practicing fighters, and I got 4th place at a local under night in Birth Redbat lately. Okay, it was out of 12 people, but still, I'm not, look, 4th place, I'm taking the gold, silver, bronze. The bottle cap medal for that.
You're taking loser place 3.
Loser place 3. Fuck you. Fuck you and everything
You're not even the first and second loser. You're the bronze medal of loser.
You know what? That hurts. That hurts, Dave. I needed that. I needed that to function today. Now I'm going to have to commit all the seppuku. All of it.
Okay.
I'm going to have to stab every stomach I have.
Which, based on you, there's a couple there.
Wow. The fat jokes.
Hey, I'm right beside you.
Okay. This next section is called Too Fat, Too Furious, with the numbers 2. And it's basically our topic section. So, just a bit of a change from last time. We took out our LOL journalism section because we figured that's a topic in and of itself and it can be talked about here. So, Carlos, that's me, thinks that the white PS4 and the upcoming white Xbox One Sunset Overdrive bundle are way sexier than their black models. Am I a racist? Here to tell me that I'm not a racist is Dave.
You are, and you're wrong.
Oh my god.
Whitey.
Yeah, I'm
actually not a big fan of the white consoles. I actually like the aesthetic of the black one. Though I will admit, I would like a blue PS4.
A blue one.
Yeah.
I like the white one. It kind of clashes with the lights on top of it sometimes, but it's very striking, and I especially like the white DualShock 4 controller. With the black touchpad and D-pad and all that. Very sexy controller. But I don't know. I like white consoles. I will also make the technical argument that since they're white, they're going to deflect light and be less hot. That's my scientific reasoning for justifying it.
Only if it was in direct sunlight, which we both know if you actually stood in, you would burn.
Sure. I tan really well, you piece of shit. Don't lie to our listeners, Dave.
And
no.
by tan, you mean a little bit darker shade of white.
Well, I mean, I was wondering about the psychology of this. I am about as left-leaning, douchebag, liberal hippie as you get. And, despite this, I generally like white items over black items, like physical items. Like, like when you can get chocobos in World of Warcraft, I find the white chocobo very attractive, though not as nice as the red chocobo. Hawkstriders, chocobos. I like calling them chocobos. Generally, white armor in games is more attractive to me than other colors. So, I mean, I think it's just a color preference thing, but I was wondering about that. I'm like, oh man, this is a white PS4. Hey, if I'm going to get an Xbox One, I'm going to get that white Sunset Overdrive bundle, if I even get it. But wait a minute. Do I want all white consoles? What does this say about me? Would I have gotten a white NVIDIA Shield if given the choice? And then I started wondering, am I racist?
Not at all. Logically speaking, it's a color preference. I like the black because I think it just goes better with my aesthetic choices.
Yeah, I'm looking at your entertainment center here, and everything is black, so...
Yeah, I mean...
Your computer case is black, your stand is black, your TV bezel is black, you have black random-ass boxes everywhere containing random-ass black things. Your heart is black, your soul is black, everything that you think and feel is black. Black heart, black mind. You are devouring me as we speak. You've eaten my arm. It's just fallen into the blackness. You have embraced the black. I, on the other hand, I am white. I am the light. If you touch a zombie to my skin, the zombie explodes. And that has everything to do with light and not that they're repulsed by me.
Yeah.
Yes. Next topic. This is one you put on there.
In fact, I think the next 6 are all topics I put on there. What the fuck, dude? You're not doing anything.
I put a bunch of shit in this document. You're the worst. You're the worst. You're impossible. I call you yesterday. I'm like, hey, asshole, we're recording tomorrow. You're gonna fucking put some shit in this document? And you're like, okay. Do. Haha. As a response to the email, I'm like, does this motherfucker know that we're replying to this in the podcast? I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, you piece of shit.
Hey, I did apologize because, yeah, it wasn't cool.
They don't even fucking talk to me. Don't even fucking talk to me. Go on about your stupid collector's edition rant.
This topic is collector's editions of games being region-specific and some areas not actually getting different items or aesthetics.
I was reading on Shoryuken that we're getting a special Xrd bundle that apparently Japan is not getting. Getting a limited edition Guilty Gear Xrd.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hilarious to me. However, if I lived in Japan, I would be pissed. I don't like region-specific limited edition crap. I hate that shit so much, especially when there's extra shit in the game Kingdom Hearts. If I still liked Kingdom Hearts, and I would have fallen out of love even if we got all the final mixes, I would be super pissed that Square Enix still sees fit to pull that shit.
Yeah, releasing new versions of the game with extra content they're not going to. These days, it would have to be DLC.
You know what? Square probably still wouldn't do it.
Square
probably wouldn't do it. There are some companies like Square Enix and Sega that really believe in the whole only Japan gets some of its stuff. Like a lot of the PSO stuff.
PSO period.
Well, Phantasy Star games, even the ones that have come out here, the online ones have often gotten exclusive content in Japan long after the game's release that you only find here on the hacked servers.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sega's like, well, you're not Japanese, fuck you, kind of deal.
Well, it's also the fact that the US versions got content like a year after Japan.
If they got it all. And by the way, this isn't a one-way thing with me, folks. I think Japanese consumers have every right to be pissed that we're going to get an XR set that they're not going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Arxis or Atlas or whoever's doing the limited bundle can be pissed if a bunch of people from Japan go and import it back to Japan so they can have this shit. I think let's stop this, especially for fighting games where you want to be like playing day one so you can practice day one. I think we need to stop this practice of even releasing games at different times period. Sonic Adventure 2 had it right. Worldwide release on one day.
Yeah.
Hate this shit.
Now, we are talking aesthetics as far as packaging, extras included.
Oh, I realize you're talking about that, but even just differing release dates period piss me off. And especially if, like, there's a special edition bundle that you can only get if you live in El Salvador. Look, maybe El Salvador really needs that bundle, okay? But
let's talk about one here recently that's hit the news. Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors is getting a special edition?
Hyrule Warriors there's going to be a special edition Wii U bundle. Only place you can get in North America is in New York.
Huh.
In one of the stores there, that is it. Nowhere else in North America will you be able to buy it.
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to eBay it.
Sure, that's what everybody in New York's going to do. But, again, stupid. I mean, I like collector's editions. I don't like when they're so limited that basically your first 20 people on the site get it and nobody else does.
I like very limited amounts of collector's editions these days. If the combination of stuff I can get out of it is really appealing, sure. I'm more enticed by, and this applies more to MMO-style games, but it can apply to others as well, digital deluxe editions, where you get some extra little perk in the game, and you didn't have to actually store an extra box, because yes. I'm all about saving my physical room these days, because I don't have a lot of room left.
Yep.
But yeah, special editions. Speaking of special editions, I don't think either of us got the special edition of Destiny.
If I'd been working, I was going to.
Well, what came in the special edition of Destiny?
Are we talking the $150 version or the $90 version?
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Fuck more than one limited edition.
There was the regular edition, there was the limited edition, and then there was...
Then there was the Spartan Helmet edition?
Then there was the collector's edition. The collector's edition actually had a metal ghost.
Okay, you know what? Fuck this collector's edition nonsense. I take back everything I said. Every edition of the game should be the same. You want to include a metal ghost? You include a metal ghost for everybody.
Don't agree, because that...
No, fuck that. I want a metal ghost right now. I'm not continuing until we get one.
I did want to get the Metal Ghost Collector's Edition, but it was $150.
Give me a Metal Ghost!
eBay it.
It's not called a ghost, is it? I'm pretty sure it's not called a ghost. That's a Halo term.
No, it's a ghost.
It's a ghost? Oh, you mean the orb.
Yes!
Yeah, okay. I thought you meant a vehicle.
No! Idiot.
Fuck you.
Anyway, this topic is around Destiny and reviews.
So you wrote here, Destiny, bad reviews. Something about how people are kind of reviewing the game badly as a fad or some shit.
Well, it's what I've noticed here recently with a number of game reviews. Not just Destiny, Watch Dogs, it happened to... and a bunch of others going back a while now. But automatically, we all fall for different levels of hype.
Yes, I agree.
We all have certain expectations based on that hype.
Friends of the show, Shane and Richie, are very similar in that regard, in that they both get super hyped for something, then they get it, and that hype congeals into reality, and then they assess the game properly. Or the movie, or the whatever it is they
See,
have.
that's the problem I'm noticing in the industry, though. Reality's not congealing. Their review is based around the hype that they built up around themselves, and around the game, and because it does not live up to said hype, automatically the scores are fucking dead.
Jesus Christ. Scared the shit out of me.
Thank you.
I think you touched on an important point there. This is part of the problem. Everyone and their mother was like, Destiny is going to be the most important video game ever released. And I'm like, I take a cursory read of the mechanics, and I'm like, oh, it's Halo Ablo.
Yep.
It's exactly Halo Ablo. I've been asked, what is this game like? Take PSO2 or Diablo or anything like that and make it play like Halo. There are people saying it's an MMO. It's not even an MMO. It's just a multiplayer online game, not unlike Diablo or PSO2, but with Halo gameplay. It's Borderlands or Borderlands 2 with Halo gameplay. This is not the most revolutionary thing to be released. It's a very beautiful roguelike, like all the other roguelikes. And there are a lot of people, a lot of purists who are like, Diablo's not a roguelike. Fuck you, it's a fucking roguelike. Happiness!
Sorry. No, it's not.
Central hub. You go out on adventures, you find ever-improving gear, you level up your guy, you go back to Central Hub. It's a fucking roguelike.
The basic definition of a roguelike is the...
So that's like Rogue. So every one of these games I mentioned, including but not limited to every Diablo game, every Phantasy Star Online variant, every... As Your Fucking Dreams, they're all roguelikes.
As Your Dreams, you're getting closer, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting on the ball because they're all roguelikes. They're all roguelikes. We have had a podcast before where we argue about roguelikes. You were wrong then, and you are wrong now. Don't look up the Nissan Rogue. We need roguelike. Also, Wikipedia's bullshit. Just want to throw this out here. They're using a Gravis gamepad as part of their video game logo, for Christ's sake. Can we do a bit of a retro back to our first episode? The Gravis gamepad sucked. The only reason that people liked it is because there was nothing better at the time that worked on their computers.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, back to episode 56.
It was also the introduction of a PlayStation-style gamepad.
I'd argue it's more SNES style, but without the shoulder buttons.
I'm talking the Gravis 2.
Oh, later ones got better. I'm talking about the original Gravis-ass gamepad.
Yes.
TIE Fighter was surprisingly playable on that thing. No substitute for a flight stick. Oh my god, flight stick. Is this episode 1, part 2? You remember flight sticks?
We'll get there. We'll get around.
Okay, back to Destiny. Here's the thing. There are certainly some bad reviews because people are letting their hype dictate it. There are some bad reviews because people are like, why is Destiny so popular? Blah, 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 blah. I hate popular games. And there are some people who are giving the game bad reviews because they played it and they honestly feel it is not very good. Mm-hmm. And arguably, these are all valid things to gripe about as human beings. Here's the thing, though. Nobody should be getting their panties in a twist about bad reviews because Destiny has already made Bungie more money than God. They don't give a fuck, and neither should you if you like playing the game.
Fair enough.
Thanks.
I do wish that more reviewers could review a game with a little bit less of a personal bias.
Well, all review is bias. Like, there are some people who argue that there's objectivity here. I used to make that argument, certainly. I was wrong. Yeah. There is no objectivity in reviewing anything. It is all subjective. Mm-hmm. So there will always be bias. I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Please continue.
There's bias, but then there's also the allowing hype to go along. It does seem that some sites especially, you're like, oh, look at that. So-and-so's site once again reviewed a good game with a negative bias.
You mean like IGN reviewing things that aren't Call of Duty games?
There you go.
Well, I mean, the other thing is there's a difference between, let's say, the bias of someone who likes Nintendo, who generally kind of gives Nintendo game, because they like Nintendo games, so Nintendo games are good to them. So they generally review them higher up. They'll try to look at flaws, but they generally like what they're playing. And there's a difference between that and, say, Dave Haverson, who is such a Sonic fanboy that he gave Sonic 06 a 9.5 out of 10. Big difference between those two. They're both subjective. The latter one is a cock. A giant floppy cock.
Speaking of the iPhone 6.
Good transition.
iPhone 6 and gaming.
Yeah, here to tell us more about that is you.
Well, already a number of the game development companies for iPhone, they're not liking where this is going because of now the iPhone has 2 different screen sizes, therefore 2 different resolutions. And it's going to take extra development time. You're crying, you fucker.
Boo-hoo-hoo! Different screen resolutions? Oh no! We're gonna have to do what every developer has done for decades and support more than one resolution.
Or they won't and just ignore one of the versions.
That's not... I'm an Android guy, but I'm going to defend Apple here. That's not Apple's fault.
I think the bigger tablet-style iPhone is retarded.
You're the iPhone guy here.
I know.
Why am I always the guy defending Apple? This always happens. I'm the guy who defends Apple, and you're the guy who swears by their phones.
I like their phone, and I like a number of the applications on it. I don't use my iPhone to game, really.
I don't really use my phone to game either. I have dedicated gaming devices for that. But I mean...
I play Sudoku and read manga on it.
Look, devs got a deal with the fact that there's more than one possible resolution. Just like they had to when they had to decide whether or not a game would be compatible with both the iPhone and an iPad. I mean, it's just how it is.
Okay, but right there, in most cases, the game had 2 different versions. It had the iPad version, and it had the iPhone version.
Which is so dumb. They just an excuse to charge twice.
No, actually, because the iPad itself had a larger screen and a better resolution, not all the developers actually made it so that when it was stretched or enlarged like that it wouldn't look like ass.
Again, I don't see how this is Apple's fault.
It's not Apple's fault, but I understand the annoyance of having to then support now multiple versions of hardware and having to decide which fan base is more important.
I've bought Steam games cheaper than some phone games that support multiple resolutions, windowed modes, and full screen modes. So I have very little sympathy for this whole issue of screen size somehow being a monkey wrench in development if everything else about the hardware still supports your standard SDK. I don't know. I'm not trying to shoot down your topic. I'm simply saying I don't see the concern.
If I do upgrade to an iPhone 6, I'm going with the standard phone edition.
Instead of the phablet version.
Instead of the phablet version, yes.
Hey, can we talk about words that are retarded? Because phablet is right up there.
Let's leave that for the end, in which case we will bring up the words that have been added to the Webster's Dictionary over the past couple of years.
Okay, let's do that right now. So phablet is the most retarded word in the world. Who the fuck thought up this word?
Is that an official word now?
It's basically the nickname for the it's too big to be a phone, it's too small to be a tablet, so it's a phablet product line.
Until it has been officially added to the Webster's, I am ignoring it. What?
Nothing. This is just so exciting, is all.
Oh, fuck, whatever.
I thought you were going to look up phablet.
Nope.
Look up the fucking word!
No.
No, fuck you. We're not advancing until you look up phablet now. Will you look up the fucking word? Maybe try to go at the speed of standing still instead of whatever the hell you're going at. It's with a PH. I probably should have mentioned that. Christ, phablet. It's almost as bad a word as guesstimate.
Actually, guesstimate is actually in the Webster's Dictionary.
Yeah, I figured. You know, I'm a total hypocrite, though, and here's why. Here's why I'm a total hypocrite. Because I support various ships in various pieces of fiction, and I refer to them by their combined name words.
Phablet is not in the Webster's Dictionary.
Oh, boo-hoo. So I support words like Ryumako for shipping Ryuko and Mako together from Kill la Kill. And,
yeah, but those are specifically shipping titles. Those aren't being made into, you know...
Is Benifer any different from Phablet? Really? If I was a fan of Ben 10 and I was incest shipping Ben and Gwen as Gwen, am I really that much better than fucking Phablet?
No.
This is taking a dark turn.
No, you're just as bad as them.
If we had sponsors, we would cut to commercial here as I go kill myself, but since we don't have sponsors, I guess I'm just going to have to live through the rest of this, don't I?
Yes, you are.
NHL 15 and companies releasing sequels that cut out core features only to be released in a later DLC patch. This is a terrible practice, but it's been around for a while.
It has been. I'm calling out... Now, I'm not much of a sports game fan. I used to play a lot of sports games with a friend of mine, Will. Back in high school and junior high, we'd play the Sega Genesis version of NHL and NFL, or Madden, I guess you'd say, all the way into the PC release for like 97, 98 for hockey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And not so much Madden and NBA in those games, but NHL has, by some miracle, up until NHL 2015, never done this. It's always released, including old versions. Yes, there might be a little bit of
it's always kind of progressed forward with features,
it's always
right?
been a forward progression with nothing cut out, no stupid bullshit done. NHL 2015 has now ended the miracle.
What have they left out exactly?
Because
I saw your item here, but I don't follow NHL games enough to know what was
the reason why this is a big thing to me is I promised my friend that I would start playing one of these games with him this year.
Sure.
And NHL was going to be the one we chose. Not anymore, because it would be a short list to say what they left in.
Okay. But give me an example of a core feature that didn't make it in this version, and that they're planning to release later.
Okay. They've done a number of different club modes over the years, specifically to do with you being the GM mode.
And then you kind of custom make a club and can trade or something, right?
You trade, you can bump your guys down to the minor leagues where they'll gain stats and come back later if you want to bring them back up. There was the different, like the Winter
Classic?
Winter Classic, and those different sort of games. Those were all part of GM mode. It was very in-depth. It was very, you are in control.
Okay.
This year, no more minor leagues, no Winter Classic or any of those special games, no preseason stuff. It's just, you come in, you can do trades, that's it.
So they gutted simulation mode,
they
basically. They
gutted everything that made that mode awesome. There's a mode in the game where you are the player, and you're just playing as a player who has joined a club.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you'd actually have some say in what goes on. You know, you could put in if you're playing awesome, you'd be able to say, well, maybe we should do this sort of strategy, and the coach might listen to you based on your performance.
Can you suggest to the coach that you dual-wield hockey sticks?
No, you can't.
I'm sorry. I'm being told. Please continue.
one of the good features of this is when you were in a game playing, you'd play your part of. Oh crap! I want to use the proper terminology in this case.
You're part of the team. Your role. Your position.
No, when you're on the ice, you're part of a line.
A line. Yeah, there's line changing in hockey.
So if you're part of line 1, you play your line. Then when you were called off or you need to rest, you could then advance the game automatically until you're back on the line.
Okay. Could you choose to get a penalty called by not coming off the ice in time?
I don't know if that was an option.
Okay. Because that'd be cool. Like, okay, they call the line, you have to actually skate back near your box so that you actually get out.
I think that was part of it.
Because I've seen real hockey games where line changes don't happen fast enough and the ref blows the whistle, right?
So that was gutted this year. You now have to sit and watch line 2 and even possibly line 3 play their segment before you get to come back on. It slows everything down.
Now, that particular change, I can see the pro and con of it. I would argue there should be the option there to advance or not. But at the same time, if they decided they wanted their simulation mode to be a bit more simulation, I could see them putting that in.
But this was hailed as a big thing last year when it was put in. That we're now going to let you actually advance it until you're back on to speed things up so you're not just sitting there watching a video game play a game.
And these features, like the ability to advance when your line is off the ice, or the Winter Classic and whatnot, are they going to be added later? Is that what's been announced? Or are they just going to be gone
Those
completely?
aren't coming back from what we know.
So I have a devil's advocate example to give to you. Guilty Gear Xrd took out FRCing. They took out...
What is that?
That's the Roman cancel where it's specifically for certain moves at certain frames where it cost half the amount of a normal Roman cancel. So Blue Spark, it was much cheaper, but you can only do it on specific frames of certain moves.
Oh, I was never a high enough player to use.
Okay, but fair enough. But keep in mind, this was a feature in Guilty Gear, Double X Accent Core Plus R.
Yeah.
That did not survive the transition over to Xrd. Now, as you can see in the latest Roman Cancel Xrd video on Novril Tataki's channel on YouTube, there are new Roman cancels added, but that Roman cancel is gone. And some of the features that were in Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus R are no longer in Xrd, such as Force Breaks, which were the EX moves, basically. They are no longer in the game because Arxis was trying to simplify and add depth without adding needless complication.
Okay.
Now, one could argue that Xrd has lost features compared to Plus R. Now, obviously, I'm skewing my example a bit because arguably they lost features that were making the game worse by their very inclusion. Now,
and we're not talking a game that has been known for advancing between titles and not changing things up majorly.
Sure, fine. And certainly there have been changes made. But now we look at NHL 15, and obviously in the simulation mode, some things were removed, and some things were changed up. And arguably there were reasons for this. If they're going to be included later, and they make you pay for it, it's obvious greed. And EA, hang on, I'll let me finish here. EA has been known, as we full well know, they have set a precedent for ripping you off when it comes to pay.
Correct.
To paid options in their games, to DLC. But that said, if they make changes and they remove features because they deem the end result is better without the feature in place or with the feature reworked, is that really so wrong?
Okay. I agree with your line of thinking. I brought up a list of things that they have cut. I'm going to go over some of the major ones that I know of, okay? So, last year they introduced 1994 mode.
Oh, did they leave that in?
Removed.
That That is the one mode that would have made me play a modern NHL game.
There you go.
Is to make a Genesis-like 94 mode. One of the best games on that system was an NHL game, of all things.
No offline seasons. It's all online now.
Boo.
No Winter Classic. A abundant number of the GM stuff got removed. No shootouts.
But it's emulating NHL. NHL does shootouts.
Not anymore.
So EA gutted what's part of actual NHL matches?
No Live the Life / NHL CHL Pro modes, which means a lot of the Be the Player modes.
So be the player, go up through the ranks type of deal.
Being drafted is now random. There's no way to actually influence where or when you're drafted. You cannot draft players in the GM mode. No fantasy draft. No Be a Legend mode. No season mode anymore. That's a big thing. No season mode.
No edit team or player. Oh my god.
No Battle for the Cup. No customized AI. No build your AI. No create a play, and no more custom music.
Wow. Okay, so
No simming between shifts in Be a Pro mode. No custom cameras.
okay, I'm gonna take back my devil's advocate then and say that gutting a lot of these things arguably don't lead to a better product. They're just being gutted because EA is being greedy and they don't want to put in the work and necessarily put them in.
Here's the kicker.
You now have me on your side.
Here's the kicker on this. It's only on the next generation consoles that this has happened.
Oh, so
because
the previous gen stuff has it?
Because
What about PC?
hang on. There hasn't been a PC release of an EA Sports game outside Tiger Woods since 2000.
This is news to me. This is news to me.
Because piracy.
Oh, of course, EA.
Now, the reason why all those features are still in the old version is because it's exactly it's the 2014 version with updated player lists. It's literally just the new player lists in 2014.
So by being lazy, last-gen players were left with the better game.
They rushed, obviously, the next-gen versions, leaving out features, which they've said, oh, well, we're going to pay some things back in. But most players are like, you know something? We'll come back in 2016 and see if you've actually got your shit together.
Well,
because this is not cool that your next-gen flagship game. They said last year they weren't going to put 2014 on the next-gen systems because they needed the time to make it spectacular. Visually, it looks amazing. But they basically took out half the game.
Is it any surprise that EA pulls shit like this anymore?
Again, with NHL, it was a surprise. This is why this is a topic from me of all people.
That's funny.
The fact that NHL has always been a forward-moving. People have called it a miracle. They've managed to do this for as long as they have, and it is. It's always been forward progression, and now they just fucked it up.
Well, that's a shame for NHL fans. I would actually like to hear, if you're a listener and a fan of the NHL game series by EA, what you think of all this. Feel free to leave us a comment. Yeah, that sucks, dude. Fuck. Speaking of shit that sucks, you wrote down unlocking characters in any game. You know my feelings on this. I've probably stated them in this podcast. I will restate them briefly. Any fighting game that makes you unlock characters, unless it's boss characters that are meant to only be played for funsies in a story mode.
Like Cliff from Guilty Gear.
Sure, and even they added him as a balanced fighter in Plus R. Unless it's that, if you make people unlock characters, and this includes Smash Brothers, you're scum. You're scum of the earth. You need to stop putting unlockable fighters and things. Unlockable characters in other types of games... I don't know, if you gave me like a game where like you play the story as one character and then when you finish them you get to play the story as another character.
Oh yeah.
I don't necessarily see the problem
I was targeting fighters with this.
You meant fighters?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fuck that. I'm okay with unlocking skins. Like in the new Smash Brothers, they're introducing skins for some characters. Like every single Koopaling is a skin for Bowser Jr.
I saw that.
And it changes up his voice. Like, he basically becomes that Koopaling, but it's the same
moveset.
It's the same hitbox and moveset, which is great. That means even though we haven't seen Roy be a Marth skin yet, it's probably inevitable. Dr. Mario is a separate character again.
Yeah.
What the hell is up with that? He made it back, yet fuck, the only Roy we have is Roy Koopa?
You know,
are you fucking with me?
It's actually funny you mentioned that, because I hit one discussion forum based on that, and
forums.
Nintendo has basically said that Roy's not coming back. There are like 15 different Fire Emblem characters that are ahead of him in the list of ever coming back. So Roy, less than Marth, which is less than 15 others that I don't even know Fire Emblem. So you're fucked. I get my character. You're fucked.
Don't fucking talk to me.
Yes! Achievement unlocked. Sorry, that's a daily achievement. Yeah, I know. Even Newsy will be disappointed by that, but
friend of the show Kiki is not pleased. She was a big Roy user. Anywho, fuck you.
Speaking of getting fucked, this is a topic I brought up with you the other day that we were talking about, and you actually hadn't heard of it until I brought it up.
I did some readings since you told me about it.
Disappointing, isn't it? Disgusting, isn't it? The topic that we're talking about, everybody, is swatting.
Basically, you know someone's address, and what you do, while that person's on a stream, ideally, so you can embarrass them in front of the world, is you call the police from that city claiming to be that person, that they're doing some crime like killing their wife or something. Then a SWAT team raids their house, and everyone laughs and goes to hell. And it's very difficult to catch people who do this, spoofing phone lines. And there's an argument also to be made for 911 operators being more diligent. But at the same time, their job, they have to balance that out with what if there really is a life-threatening crisis in progress. And the fact that these pieces of shit are victimizing people and wasting law enforcement's time is, look, I'm not the biggest fan of law enforcement lately with the whole Ferguson shit, but they don't deserve to have these kinds of false calls gumming up the works too, right? I wrote down here, this is my misandry at play here, is it any surprise that the person who did this is a dude? The people who do this are dudes? Because the only examples I've seen, they've been males that have called in. Because we are the worst. We are the worst. We call SWAT teams onto Twitch streams, and we basically are responsible for all the ills of the world. Having a penis sucks, people. Well, no, it's great. That's the problem. It is awesome. We can do this shit and get away with it. Here to tell us why having a penis might not be so great is Dave.
I'm not touching that one. I'm
not touching your penis, Carlos.
I do think that these people need jail time.
Yeah, this is what jail is supposed to be for.
Yeah.
Not for racist white cops to deposit black people in and make profits out of. No, jail is supposed to be for monsters like this who find fun in making others miserable. There's not much to talk about here. It's a terrible practice and needs to stop. It's scary that anybody could look up our address and do this to us. Whether or not we're on a stream. It's scary.
I started doing some Twitch streaming a few months back, and I was actually going to stream my entire road to 20 in Destiny. And after reading a bunch of the recent streaming, swatting's happening to Twitch users. I was midway through setting up Twitch on my PS4 to do so, and then I just hit back and went on playing my game. Because I was not going to put myself in the possibility of having some little douchebag have a SWAT team show up at my house.
This is what you've done, gamers. This is what gamers, the majority of which are white male assholes.
50%.
Probably way more than that are of the mindsets that agrees with this and will blame you for getting yourself swatted.
You know, I don't think it's a large group that is up with the swatting.
I think it's a select few people. I'm just saying it's not surprising at all that every single person who does this is a dude. It's always a guy.
We can't say that every single one has... It's probably been guys, but I can see a young woman doing it under the influence.
I really can't, because we don't have a precedent for this. Every mass shooter, every mass serial killer, every fucking suicide bomb. Well, no, that's not true. But every mass school shooter type person has been a dude. The majority of people harassing Zoe Quinn are dudes. And every report I've read of people who are making false 911 calls to get people swatted are dudes. I'm just saying, I'm not surprised that it's men. I'm not even remotely shocked. And I'm just saying, we as men, and I'm speaking up for the world's males here, we have a responsibility to not be horrible. And we are failing. We are failing this.
Turns out there have been 2 female mass shooters.
Okay, so 2
out of I get what you're saying.
How many men?
Yeah,
it's I don't know what it is about this fucking testosterone pumping through our veins. It's like the orc's bloodlust in Warcraft. How even the kindest orc can go into a blood rage. That's like what we have. We dudes have. We just. In all of us is a potential Agent Smith just waiting to make life terrible for people. It's horrible, and we need to stop.
Speaking of things that need to stop, DRM.
If you make a single-player game that always needs to be connected to the internet, fuck you. Just fuck you, straight up. No, I can't say that. I can't say that.
You're being hypocritical.
I know, I can't
Diablo!
Say that. Well, not on console.
Diablo 3 on PC.
So, I'm playing the superior version.
Now you are.
Yeah, but still, Diablo 3 did it. I suppose I can't be too harsh because when I was playing Kain's Brave Earth Prologue Alpha, it did need to connect to him to verify that, I was a legitimate user.
You
of the
were
software.
A beta tester, though. That's a little bit different. He has to have some level of control, or else everybody can just leak it.
Okay, so Kain, if you're listening to this doesn't apply to you, and I'm still all homo for you. I keep offering to rub his penis with my penis. He doesn't accept.
I'm sure you have.
So... Can we at least say that devs who do it unnecessarily are shitlords?
Yes.
Okay.
How long should a game/anime have?
You are targeting me with this so hard.
To be good.
Because game/anime. It wasn't anything. It wasn't movie.
Hang on.
You are baiting me hard with this. Fortunately, I have an answer for you. 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
It has 5 minutes to make me care.
Anime endgame?
Anything. Unless I've sat down in a movie theater and I already know I spent the money for it. Then it has about an hour to make me not walk out. I only didn't walk out of
You have walked out of movies, haven't you?
Yeah, I only didn't walk out on Transformers 1 because you were there and I think I was your ride.
Probably.
And I still debated walking out and just waiting for you in the lobby.
You didn't even walk out of Silent Hill.
Well, I was having too much fun.
That is true. That was a rare occasion.
We were riffing on the movie, and in a rare example of when it is okay to talk in the theater, everyone around us was amused by it.
We were doing live riff track.
Sometimes it's okay when a movie is so terrible or funny or cheesy or all of the above, and the whole audience is into it, that's okay. But how long does it have? Look, I know you're targeting me with this, but basically...
No, I'm looking for your opinion, actually.
If I play a game for one of its levels, or for 10 minutes or so, and I am not having even remotely any amount of fun playing with this game, that's all it has. I don't care that minute number 11 might be awesome. It had plenty of time to establish that. Similarly, if we're doing an anime rave, there are so many that I've wanted to stop after episode 1 because I'm like, you're like, well, maybe the second episode will be good. And my counter is, why wasn't the first one good?
And that's why this is part of the discussion and why I added anime into it, because you have I wanted to see what sort of standards you were going by as far as a 40-hour video game versus a half an hour TV show.
Well, in a game, it's a little harder because, like, some games have really long first levels, and some games have really short ones that maybe end right away, and some games don't even have levels or stages per se, and you kind of have to keep going until you just get bored.
Like, let's bring examples in this.
Sure.
And it's going to have to be person-specific.
The only reason Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 got played through is because I knew, based on reviews I read and impressions I read from elsewhere, that this boring part at the beginning would give way to awesomeness later.
We're both talking about Kingdom Hearts 2 with the...
1 and 2 did this. 1 did it with the islands at the beginning, which were boring as hell. That game really picks up once you hit Traverse Town. And in Kingdom Hearts 2, with every single fucking mind-numbing Mimit you play as Roxas.
Yeah.
Both of these are terrible intros. And then after that, both games just shoot up in quality. Arguably one more than 2.
Though, at least for me, I mean, I didn't mind the island at the beginning of 1 because it was my introduction to the characters. Yes, you're right. It picked right the fuck up once you hit Traverse Town. But my first time playing 1, I didn't mind the island. I did fucking mind Roxas's whole mind-numbing bullshit in part 2, though.
In Twilight Town?
My God, I was like, okay, come on, I know there's a game in here. Fuck, move on!
Yeah, and both of them tease you because in both games, you get one cool boss fight really early. Especially in number 2, where you have to fight the giant nobody in Roxas's dream.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, man, this is awesome! And now 400 hours of boredom.
2 full hours, even if you're rushing.
And no, sorry, man. Look, that's bad design.
Yeah.
It's not about ADHD. It's not about autism or whatever purist ass gamers are gonna use it as an excuse for why I don't want to put up with mind numbing garbage. It's about realizing there are parts of your game that suck and excising them. This happens in movies too, at least it should, where entire scenes are thrown out of movies because they just don't fit or are boring.
Slow down the pace.
Sometimes you see cutscenes, and sometimes you're like, why wasn't that in? And then when you really think about it, you're like, yeah, okay, I saw why that scene was cut, because it served no purpose in the grand scheme of things, which is why I like doing our Last Airbender what ifs, because we're cutting, like, that is a perfect example of excising crap to make something fit.
The game that I always go back to on stuff like this is Final Fantasy 13. Now, 13 never gets good. Ever.
I've never played it, and I agree.
However, I remember back when it came out, people saying, oh yeah, after about hour 10 it gets really good. Hour 10?! Like, are you so bored of life that you need to put in 10 hours of shit to get to the good part of the game? No!
I'm not an established screenwriter yet, but I have talked with other aspirants. I will ask them a question about their script. I'll ask them, why did you wait until page 90 of 110 to get good, to get amazing? Why can't it be amazing from page 1? People are going to stop way before page 90. Be amazing right away, and stay amazing. If you have to be shitty in the middle. end and begin on a high note.
I mean, this all...
Ideally, make the middle a high note, too.
It all circles around to value, length, and everything else. And my argument even there is, I mean, Destiny, I put in 20 hours-ish. Hit level 20, I'm near what I'm guessing is the end of the storyline, I think. But I've had lots of fun. It's been more than worth it for me.
Look, the Destiny intro, which is all of the game I've played so far, is a fine intro.
Yep.
They start you off that you don't have to do the incessant look up, look down shit that Halo puts you through. I hate that. Even though I like some of the Halo games, I always hated that portion of it. The ghost comes up to you, you start moving, you find the gun right away, and you start killing things right away.
Yep.
You fight a boss, and then you're done your intro. Now fuck off and go play some more. Okay, good on you, Bungie. Thank you.
As far as anime, I'm a little bit more forgiving than you are on some things.
There's too much garbage to be forgiving.
However, you and me have both kind of seen certain scenes in anime. We both looked at each other and turned the key.
Why didn't you let me stop Steins Gate sooner? I begged you to stop.
But then we wouldn't have had the awesomeness that is the
It wasn't worth it.
It was. Hey, I go back and listen to that weekly. Because the suffering is just like
you're fucking
you're
fucking sadist. You're fucking sadist is what you are. You're a fucking sadistic prick.
If I was a sadistic prick, we'd be going on to episode 4.
You're not a. You're a fucking masochist and a sadist. I'm not a masochist. I have to pee. I'll be right back. Sorry, I tried to hold it. I really did. Do you need to pee before we move on?
Nope.
Shall we move on to the...
I'm not pissy.
Alright, we're going to move on to the Shitlord Saga. Dave, explain what the Shitlord Saga is for our viewers, listeners.
Well, the Shitlord Saga started as a directed target of Peter Molyneux.
Yes.
Who
is a shitlord.
Every time he opens his mouth, shit falls out.
Yep, a lord of shit, one might say.
Now,
it has expanded to include...
I think you're...
any shitlord.
I think these ones are stupid as fuck.
No, these are not shit. These are not stupid.
Oh, these are shit.
Oh, they are shit.
Your topics are shit.
No, fuck you.
Tell us why, here's Carlos.
We need to establish something right now about a very popular character in fiction, okay? We need to establish this right now. Batman is a shitlord. Batman sucks. He has been ruled by a travesty that isn't even comparable to some of the worst superhero origin stories for his whole life. It isn't even comparable to what some real-world people, first and third world, go through daily.
You
and I'm supposed to believe...
target him for a psychological issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's crazy.
It's a mental disability.
He is so dumb. This guy he's still a little kid in a man's body. He's a man-child. He has never gotten over what should be something that you get over in time and go back to a normal life.
I would actually argue that Christopher Nolan's Batman was the only Batman I can think of that actually got past most of it and did it for other reasons.
No, there have been some interpretations of Batman, like in Kingdom Come, arguably he finally got over himself, and at the end, and arguably, like Earth 2, he eventually decided he can't do much in the superhero costume, so he became a police officer and a detective, so that he could do something in the light, basically. But Batman is ultimately, he's playing make-believe, just really realistic make-believe, if you really think about it. And I wrote here, let's compare Batman to Vegeta. Okay? Vegeta was a world conqueror and destroyer, forced to be that by the evil tyrant Frieza that he was never strong enough to beat. He got strong enough to kill Frieza only well after Goku already did the job for him.
Yep.
and his own son, which is probably a point of pride for him that his own son managed to do it. But Vegeta, despite being this tortured warlord, eventually settled down on Earth, married a hottie, had a family, and became the daddest dad who drives his daughter out shopping, got an office job to better integrate with human life, wore normal human clothing, and basically adopted the planet as his own. This guy has suffered way worse than Batman, and he has transitioned into a normal life. And as normal as it gets for Vegeta.
As normal as anything gets on that planet.
For any Dragon Ball character. But this piece of shit Batman can't even get over this one thing. He can't even make life better in his city. He's spinning his wheels. He is not making any move to actually end the problems in Gotham. He just patches up the symptoms. He's a fucking homeopath. He's a fucking chiropractor. Batman is a shitlord.
Except he increases jobs and therefore makes things better for people's lives.
No, he doesn't. Nobody wants to live in Gotham.
He donates plenty to charity to help kids.
Yeah, and look where that gets them. Look how many supervillains that curbs. Batman is so fucking crazy. He makes his villains crazier just by existing. Superman he's actively trying to make the world better. Look at Metropolis. It's a beacon of light. Look at Gotham. It looks like...
And yet all of Superman's opponents are getting crazier and crazier to try and kill him.
I bet you most of that is Batman's fault.
Come on!
I bet you
cannot blame Lex Luthor on Batman!
I can blame Lex Luthor on Batman.
You can't!
Lex Luthor was perfectly content to just play the villain to Superman, and then Batman goes to his office and beats him up one day, and now he's crazy. It's all Batman's fault. The events in Kingdom Come are directly related to the fact that Batman hasn't just killed Joker. Batman is directly responsible for all the wrong in Kingdom Come.
And if Joker had been a Superman villain, Soup wouldn't kill him.
Yeah, he could lobotomize him.
He wouldn't.
No, he would. In my headcanon, Superman will do
No,
these things.
he won't.
Batman's a shitlord. Also, Wolverine is such a fucking shitlord.
Which interpretation?
Every one of them.
The one where he's the Archangel Gabriel? The one where he is a demon who keeps on coming back to life?
The one that just cannot get over the fact that Jean Grey doesn't love him. AKA all of them.
So every one of them except for the movie canon.
And the Age of Apocalypse canon, ironically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck Wolverine. Look, I like Wolverine, okay? And in my old age, I'm liking him better than I like Cyclops, who I hate more every day that passes.
Gee, you mean the one who I basically called the emo X-Men?
He used to be good. He was good in the Fox Kids cartoon. And even in that cartoon, Wolverine was so... This guy wants to get his dick wet with Gene Juice so bad that he just never... He's like hundreds of years old, has had so many women. I think he's only had slightly less women than Peter Parker. Friend of the show, Kiki, showed me a list of like most slutty superheroes, and the list is mostly dudes, and Spider-Man's like number 4, and I think Wolverine is number 1.
That wouldn't surprise me.
But I mean, Wolverine has had 100 years, Peter Parker's had 30. The thing, though, is that Wolverine just never gets over this, man. Wolverine is tortured by the same thing that tortures Batman, his own arrogant psyche. Therefore, Wolverine is a shitlord. You know who else is a shitlord?
Oh, no. He gets over it.
At the very end?
Yep.
So Kenshin is he's a fucking shitlord. He's a fucking shitlord. Poor Kaoru waiting for this sack of crap. I'm sorry, Kaoru. The love of your life, who also loves you back, won't be with you because he has a guilty conscience and has to go help people because he has a little mark on his face. Fuck you, Rurouni Kenshin. Fuck you.
You know, I don't put him in the same category as the other two.
He's a shitlord of the highest caliber.
I don't think so.
How many people killed in the Meiji era, and this motherfucker's taking it so to heart that the people around him who love him, who want him to come home, he just repeatedly makes their lives hard by not doing that?
Wait.
Like,
Okay. Oh, hang on.
he is worse than Cloud.
Okay. Are we talking about emo movie Kenshin? Or are we talking the manga Kenshin?
They're all emo.
No.
All of them. This includes manga Kenshin. He is forever tortured by something that was by all rights commonplace in that era. He needed to get over himself. His own ego kept him from accepting the fact that he was responsible for deaths. So he put on this happy facade and basically shut out his true self. And eventually it came back to haunt him because he had to go and fucking just excise this from himself when he could have just accepted it early on. Just like Darth Vader. Darth Vader is such a fucking shitlord.
Now there you will get no argument from me.
I think the Emperor even said something in The Force Unleashed about how if he just accepted what he fucking was, he would have been just as powerful when he wasn't half robot. But no, he's like, no, I'm not this evil monster who force chokes officers who just slightly piss him off. Like, that has been Shitlord Saga. This next section is called How Two Fat Guys Would Do It.
No.
You said you weren't ready to do book 3.
I'm not.
Avatar. Okay, that's fine. So you know what we are doing? JEM!
This is going to be very one-sided.
JEM is excitement. Ooh, JEM!
Go ahead.
Glamour and glitter! Is anybody else here? Is anybody sleeping?
No.
Fashion and fame! Alright.
How would you do it, Carlos? Because I have no fucking clue.
Well, let's brainstorm this. So, what would you say is the best part of the original cartoon?
I didn't watch it.
Okay, Dave, don't be a fucking liar, okay? Look, Darth Vader could not accept what he was.
Look,
Kenshin could not accept what he was.
Sailor Moon?
You have to...
Sure, I can admit I watched.
You have
JEM, I didn't have cable back then.
You have to accept what you are, okay?
Oh,
what did you like the most out of JEM?
The fact it wasn't on my channels.
Okay, so here's the thing about the original JEM cartoon. Alright, it's like...
I know the premise. She was basically a magical girl who went from being a young girl to being an adult who can sing.
She went from being a scuzzy, immature adult to being a scuzzy rock star, basically. The best thing about the original cartoon was the fact that the evil band, the Misfits, were often way, way cooler than JEM and the Holograms, her band. And the fact that, because there were songs in the show, if you remember,
this I know.
If you remember the nostalgia chicks critique of the show.
Look, I didn't watch the show, but throughout the years, I may have caught one.
You
episode.
may have caught one.
No, like
I may have
a
sought out the
complete
series.
episode may have been in there somewhere. So I at least know the premise.
This denial I am hearing here.
And wasn't there some guy that she liked?
Yeah, he was a shitlord. And,
why?
Because he liked... here's why. Because he thought Jerica was, like, not
Who
worth
was?
his time. Jerica was JEM.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's Serena. He thought... So this guy was kind of like Tuxedo Mask, just not as rapey.
Ooh.
So this guy... I don't even remember his name, okay? All I know is that he didn't think Jericho was anything special, but he was in love with JEM.
Okay.
And Jericho was okay with that because, I don't know. And he was a shitlord.
Because 80s love story.
So there were songs in the show, and often the Misfits songs were... Because this was supposed to be like, okay, it was... They argued it was for girls, but it had a lot in common with other 80s boys cartoons. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
The Misfits songs were often about female empowerment and being independent and being capable and being able to do what they wanted in the world. The only thing that made the
And
Misfits...
being criminals, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Misfits would have been super awesome feminist icons if it was for all the attempted murder.
Okay.
The hologram songs were generally about looking pretty, fashion, impressing boys, and occasionally dabbling into empowering girls.
Okay.
So, there's a JEM in the Holograms movie being made by some of the people involved with the G.I. Joe movie, which was okay. How I would do JEM in the Holograms, and I'm not going to take too much time, because I know that I kind of sideswiped you with this one. And I told this to a friend of the show, Kiki, when we were discussing it. I would like to make it so that, much like Starship Troopers, there was an undercurrent of a real message behind it. Because Starship Troopers seems like the quintessential action flick, but the undercurrent behind everything is that humanity is scum. Even when facing horrible monsters, humanity is scum.
Humanity was the monsters because they caused everything.
Well, I used to believe that humanity was the real villain of the film, and you used to believe that, no, they didn't do anything wrong, and I think we've both kind of settled in the middle. I'm now more like, yeah, the bugs were pretty monstrous, but humanity wasn't exactly great either. It was trying to show that conflict is ugly, no matter what form it takes, I think. I don't know if that's how you feel then. I won't speak for you then.
Humanity was the bugs weren't the ones invading. The bugs weren't the ones actually doing the war. It was literally humanity always encroaching on their territory, trying to take their territory.
Sure.
And the bugs fighting back and trying to survive.
And war was ugly because then the bugs...
I'd say the worst thing the bugs did is that meteor. If they hadn't done the meteor, then open war never would have happened.
Well, I would argue, yeah, the humans provoked the bugs.
That was their nuclear bomb.
Sure, the humans provoked the bugs, but then the bugs committed atrocities too. I remember the brain bug. Like, that was an atrocious thing. It did not need to do that to their soldiers. It's kind of, in a way, it kind of parallels the Palestine-Israel conflict of now. Like, we've talked about this before, but there are parallels there. Anywho. JEM. How I would make it is that I would make it initially on the surface seem like JEM and the holograms were the heroes, but secretly it's the misfits that are doing all the rights in the movie. And any critical analysis of the film would reveal that the misfits are actually the heroes. That's how I would do the JEM movie.
Okay.
Either that, or if a producer says, no, that's too deep, we want to make it a little simple. Despite the fact that I like the Misfits, I kind of like the idea of making them a boy band led by Justin Timberlake. Now tell me you wouldn't have fun seeing Justin Timberlake playing the head of an evil boy band called the Misfits.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's not much to JEM, really. So I would do JEM in one of those two ways. How would you do JEM?
Well, based on my limited knowledge of it.
Again, with all your lies.
Well, you could do kind of the idea behind like the TV show Ugly Betty.
I've never seen Ugly Betty.
I haven't watched the actual show, but I know the concept behind it, or what I think the concept is. But I that's what I would do. Is I would have a girl who finds herself not too attractive.
I've seen pictures of the supposedly Ugly Betty. She's pretty hot.
Getting all dolled up and having
I would rub my cock all over her thighs, with her permission, with her consent.
Then becoming part of a rock band, getting all dolled up. But there would be really no message. It would just be a fluff piece like I think the actual movie's going to be. I don't think the movie's going to be very good.
Maybe. Maybe not. You never know. There have been good movies about musicians. I can think
my biggest worry.
I can think of one good movie that was based around bands. Rockstar with what's his face?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. No, Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
Because he drew from his experience as Marky Mark and all that shit. And no, that movie was really fucking good. It had Mark Wahlberg, Jennifer Aniston. It was about a guy who's playing the cover band for Steel Dragon, which was a fictional Metallica-style band.
Okay.
And then eventually, he because their singer quit or got fired, and this Mark Wahlberg's character got recruited to be the lead singer because on the cover bands he was always able to emulate that guy perfectly. And then he became a big rock star, but with it came the fame and the drugs and the descent into
Justin Bieberism.
Well, not quite Justin Bieberism. Well, maybe kind of like just like Hotel California. It was a descent into excess, into hubris, and eventually the movie ends with him up and quitting, becoming an independent musician like he secretly always wanted to be, and getting back with Jennifer Aniston, who had long left the life. It was a really good movie. I recommend it to anyone. And after the credits, Mark Wahlberg he does a few outtakes where he's pretending to be Marky Mark in Steel Dragon. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
So that's the One Good Band movie. Please continue.
I don't have much more to say.
Would you have JEM fighting supervillains? Sometimes she would. No, Carlos.
I guess you could actually turn a movie like that into almost like a James Bond-ish sort of idea.
Where JEM and the Holograms are a band, but they're secretly a cover for Secret Agent Jerrica and her friends.
Yeah.
You could do that in a fun Charlie's Angels kind of vein.
Yes.
Somebody call John August and get him to write that up.
That would work.
I like John August. Shoutouts to John August for having a great screenwriting blog and podcast. That's all I got. Parting thoughts and invite feedback. That's our final section. Dave, based on everything we've discussed today, sum it all up in 3 words.
Can I have 4?
Yeah.
Steins Gate the movie.
I'm going to sum mine up in 2 words. Fuck you.
This has been Dave.
This has been Carlos. If you like what you've heard, you want to hear more, you want to leave us some feedback, please visit our podcast site at twofatguystalk.com. That site also has a link to the YouTube channel, and you can catch our anime rave on it, where we basically talk about animes we've watched in a fun and entertaining manner.
These days, though, it's really... Anime raves is our reaction in a sort of live format to what we're watching.
Yeah. Whereas
it's not really a review.
Whereas this podcast is just us letting out our pent-up anger for each other. Just let it flow out into hatred. Anywho, leave us feedback, leave us impressions, leave us messages, leave us anger. I don't fucking care. Just talk to us. We need attention so bad. So bad, man. So bad. Rub my cock all over.